Hello, and welcome back, everybody, to Extra Life 2020. I'm Nick. I'm here for 24 hours. I guess we're entering our, 5 and 12? 17th hour?
I think that, yeah.
We're more than halfway through. I knew we were halfway through, because halfway through is when I had a nap. We are here participating in Extra Life to raise money for Child's Play. For those who don't know, Child's Play is an organization that supports the Children's Miracle Network hospitals by raising money to make sure that they can, whenever a child has to stay in a hospital or have to go and have a procedure done or any number of things, it can be a stressful time, it can be a traumatic time, it can be a boring time. And Child's Play does what it can to make those times better. Everything from supporting research into new treatment options and everything like that, all the way down to buying toys and games to make sure that everybody who's staying there has a good time. We are in the middle of a block, so I'm not doing the full spiel this time. The block that we are in is the block where I am playing games with my mom.
Hi, everybody.
So we are back, and it is time to play the Stanley Parable, and I am so excited because as soon as I got as soon as I booted it up, I got the achievement entitled "Go Outside," which is an achievement you get for not playing the game for 5 years.
Ah, okay.
So I'm kind of excited to see this as a revisit of this game. You know what? I wanna
So
put
you
that.
haven't played it for 5 years. I've never played it. I only saw a quick demo of it when we were researching which games to play.
Yeah, I showed you the trailer for it. But we have it right here. There you go. Now it's making noise. And this game said it had full controller support, so you should be able to just use that controller and walk around and see what's up.
Okay.
Begin the game. Yeah, I'm really curious what you're gonna think of this game.
Okay.
Because it's odd. Sometimes this is one of those ones that it's not that hard to make the argument that it's not really a game. This is a well, no, this one's more of a game than other games where it is first person and you do not have a gun, you know? Not since like Myst.
See, now Myst always looked interesting to me, but I never played it.
Oh, we should talk then, because over there she loves that whole series, and they just said that they're doing a new Myst, and it's going to be VR. So if you want to go explore the island, like be on the island,
that could be interesting.
That could be interesting.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
All right, I have to hear this because I don't know the story.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
Dang it, that skipped it. Begin the game again. Nope. Okay, I guess you're starting from here. I did turn it up. You good?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay. You're playing.
Oh, I'm playing?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought there was...
No, you're playing.
Oh, all right. I thought... Okay, so we skipped the whole intro thing.
By accident, yes.
Okay.
Left stick should be move, and right stick should be look.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I believe the story that we missed is the story from the trailer, which is Stanley sits at his desk and the monitor tells him what button to press, and he presses it, and then one day it stopped giving him orders.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
You need to look at the wall.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yeah, you have gone down this path now. So that was the thing. The narrator said he went the wrong way. He must have wanted to do this other thing. So,
Okay.
yeah, look before moving, I guess, is going to be my advice here. Use the right stick to point in the direction you want, and then only push forward on the left stick.
Can I try doors or can I?
I think
pick up-
so. Maybe with the A button. Yeah, but if you hear a noise like that, it
Okay.
means the door's locked.
Can I pick up paper?
Not really. Yeah, this isn't much a game about interacting so much as just like moving to explore.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
So he directs you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But that was a big elevator with an obvious button you just passed.
Oh, can I go back in?
You can do whatever you want to do, is the key.
Right here? Ah, okay.
You know what? Follow him through the door. Do what? Don't let me. I'm gonna shut up. You need to just do what you would do naturally. I have this problem. I'm trying to explain it.
I think I heard that door close behind me now.
Yeah, that generally happens.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
What? Yeah. What's it say?
That door says,
Using slides to assure employee that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic in the header and throw some bevel on all the text. This will ensure a calm and productive work environment. Everyone is unique. You most of all. Everybody's just talking about Mist and Riven in the chat now. I love it. I have a DVD for Riven that I have never played because I never had a computer which both had a DVD-ROM drive and Windows 98. And that's the only configuration where I can read and play that disc. Ugh. If you decide you would like me to drive and you just tell me where to go, we can do that too.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
yeah, I'm having trouble here. Yeah, we're into it.
All right.
Give me some.
You tell me where to go.
Up the stairs.
Okay.
Try that door? No.
Try the door. Door's locked. Yeah. You tell me everything to do and I'll just drive.
Alright, so look around here. It's
Okay.
nice.
Executive bathroom.
No, we don't want that. We're looking for his office. That must be that open door.
That's the door we just came out of.
Oh.
Well, that's true.
Anyway, we can look behind the desk, see if there's anything on the computer or what's on the desk.
Oh yeah. It's business time. Okay, we have crouch. I don't think we have the zoom. Computer does
Okay.
nothing.
Alright. So go to the office.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him.
Okay,
And
so-
so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
So we have to go behind the desk, right?
Yep.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs, trying to input, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Down the elevator.
Okay.
So we climbed up, what, 2 flights of stairs
Something like that.
to get to the office?
Well, so at this point we've hit a loading screen, so we're probably going to
So-
be somewhere completely disconnected.
So, Stanley... So there's
Descending
really no...
deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
Okay.
Mind Control Facility.
It's getting creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Push the button on the box.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Catwalk. Yeah. 3, 4 desk. Oh,
Desks. Stuff.
okay.
I wish I could zoom and actually read that. Button?
Button.
Now the monitors
Oh my.
jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Okay. Pause.
Button?
Pause.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No,
I'd be so
he
willing as
refused to
Stanley.
believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly
since we're controlling
blind to the
Stanley now.
world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Alright, gotta push some buttons, I guess, huh? Okay, control.
Yep, tell me which ones.
Console display. I don't know. I'm kind of curious to press some of those buttons on those mind control disable things. Yeah.
How about these?
Yeah. Maybe the green one there?
Eh,
No,
they kind of
don't
just
do anything?
make noises.
Alright.
Let's try this one. There's
So I
one.
guess we have to go to that console.
This one had a power button here.
Okay.
Can't even press that. Okay. This one
Yeah.
doesn't do anything. Nope.
Go back a little bit. Come back.
Yep.
And I thought on the wall, these those white buttons.
Oh, okay. Are these
What
buttons?
they are? One.
One. Oh, did not like that. Wait. Okay, didn't change that. Is there other white buttons like that? Ooh, up there. That's 5. Wasn't 5.
Maybe we should do it in order.
Well, because you hear the different sounds that they're making?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, there's one up there. What's that
Two
one up
down
there? 4.
Oh, we just did 1 and 2. Yeah.
So we think.
1.
Wait. It's not 2, it's not 5. How about 4? That sounded right.
We're missing 3.
Yeah. Oh, I can keep looking around. That's. There it is. Wrong. So it's 1, 4, and then not 3.
1, 4, and 5. Did 5 sound the same?
5 sounded like that. That sounded good. Yeah. What do you want to try next? 5 or 2?
5.
5.
Do you remember what it was?
Yep. Okay, it sounded good. So 3 or 2?
2.
2. See if it sounds right. Oh, I might have gotten it. 3's the only one left. Right here? Maybe not. Okay, I don't know about the buttons.
Who's that narrator friend?
He hasn't shown up yet. Or he said something about Stanley was gonna make sure nobody could get mind controlled again, shutting this place down for good.
And none of the buttons on the offline things work.
Yeah,
We pressed 1 through 5.
right.
Go through that door.
Ooh.
Was that open before?
Yeah.
Alright, you do the red button.
Red button. Nope, not a real red button, I guess.
How come we didn't see that open before? Maybe it opened. Maybe that's what happened.
I don't know. I think it was open, and we just started going off on the buttons.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Off.
Off?
Yeah. Is that in the game? Might be. The end.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
How did you stumble upon this game?
This one, gosh, I don't remember. It got some attention.
It's
Somehow.
a storytelling game.
Right.
It's not even a game, it's a story.
Right.
Because there is no, we were talking earlier about games, and I think most games do have a goal to get to the finish line, to beat the big boss, to, open the treasure, open a doorway, get to the next level, right? There's nothing here. This almost reminds me of like your choose your own ending storybooks. Remember those?
What you're thinking of is challenges. This is a game without challenge. It
Without
still has
challenge.
decisions,
Yes.
but it doesn't have challenges.
Okay.
Hey, the game started over. You ready to play again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
So you haven't played this in 5 years. Do you remember?
I remember a
much-
bunch, yeah.
So do we ever find out
When
what
Stanley
happened to his
came to a
coworkers?
set of 2 open doors,
Let's keep playing.
he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Spoiler alert.
So he just says Stanley went through the door on the left.
Uh-huh. All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided
Yeah,
to go
it's
up to
funny.
his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
You don't know what this game is about yet. But we're playing it again, and
Okay.
hopefully it'll figure it out.
Well, I did notice that as it went to black.
Oh,
it
that one's
says-
real.
Oh. actually,
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Let's go down this way.
Now you're getting it.
Can we try that door or no? It's gonna be open.
Okay, it's as down as we go.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was
Check out
crazy.
this other vending
And then
machine.
something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No,
Oh,
Stanley
yeah. Oh,
said to
gosh,
himself,
yeah.
this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh,
What are those red
what a
lights?
relief
That's
Stanley
That's the
felt
back of a
to
car.
have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. and he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Oh my.
Whoa.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream.
All right, okay, keep going.
So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal.
How do you know that?
Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh, hello.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
So that's sort of the interesting part of this game. That first story, it's not about that. That story we just had, it's not about that.
I'm starting to see that.
The game just started over. Shall we make some new decisions?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself, that's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Right.
There you go.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Wait, we took
Wow.
Yes.
Yes. This room. What a beautiful room.
He's saying different
What a
stuff
gorgeous,
from last time, though, too.
gorgeous room. Thank
Yeah.
goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having
would sit
experienced
right here.
this room was now
Maybe
too
right here.
horrible even to consider.
Yeah. No, like
Can you open the shades?
I don't believe so. Theoretically, that's like keyboard presses. when you try to use them.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
I like
Really
these
worth
chairs
it.
and paintings. Look at this. Okay.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
So let's go through the door straight ahead.
Now you getting it.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion. Will cause death. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, 1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, 5,000. Hey, is the door open? Okay. Well, this is the one way to go.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Also, hey, there's that open door over there. If we had jumped off, we could have gone that way. I was just noticing that
This
now.
is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Pick it up.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
So they did do like the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe or whatever, so they have added more to this game. I don't remember if that was like a upgrade if you owned the game or if that was they released it as like a new product. I mean, probably to put it on the Switch. Hey, you think we can go down there? What do you want to see inside?
I don't know. What do you think? You want to find out? Said if we go through, we find out what's going on. Go down the hallway.
Well, he said he wants to show us something, but I'm getting creeped out.
Sorry, but
Yes.
you're in my story now.
Uh-oh.
There you go. Now we know.
Yeah, he is creepy. Oh, okay.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons,
Oh, no.
doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous
press RB to
round
hang out with the
room
boys.
with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Oh, please.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
This one. Hate Mondays.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
You have to press it to go, right?
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And
This has a real creep value to it.
Yeah. It has some things to say about the nature of...
I was going to say, I can't help but think that there's a very important underlying message about human nature.
Well, so this is a game that really wants to, like, bring to the forefront the question that we were saying before. It's like, if you are the author of a story, you know, if it's a movie, you release it, people watch the movie, and they can leave with something, or they could miss it, or whatever. But when it's a game, they are part of the storyteller, and this game is just really drilling down on, like, hey, what happens when the player, because it's a game, the player has enough control that they are at odds with the author, and who gets to tell the story, and what is the story behind it. I do want to go check out that one drop off the thing. I don't remember what's behind it.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit.
But I think we have enough time for that, and then
he
we'll...
hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Something. What's the something?
When Stanley came
Boom
to a
blocks.
set of two
It's time for
of them,
boom blocks
this
after
was
that.
not the correct
Right.
way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
But yeah,
Perhaps he
I
wanted to
think there
stop
was,
by
like-
the
That
employee
room going
lounge
around and
first,
around, that
just
was
to
a little
admire
creepy.
it.
Oh yeah, there's like a dozen different endings
The
to this game
lounge
at
was
least,
sublime,
and they added more
a
over
work
time.
of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took
So
the
like
first
yeah, no,
open
like
door on
finding
his
all
left.
of the different paths in this game, like all the decision points, that is the way you play this game. That
Stanley
is what
was
this
so
game is
bad
about.
at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
So like this sign here saying, "Hey, really, do not jump off of it," is telling you, "Hey, jump off of it."
Look, Stanley,
like, hey,
I
that's
think
an
perhaps
option
we've
available to
gotten
you.
off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
So this was
I
the
realize
last
that
path.
investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about.
Here.
What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
No way.
Danger, danger everywhere.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Good, you're understanding.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Very cleverly done. All right.
And like that's the thing about it, right? There you go, blue door. Right?
Absolutely.
All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
So this is like the cool part of it, right? Because like some paths you're indirect, some paths again, so an actual person authored this and authored everything the narrator says. And in some paths, Stanley does get the like leg up on the narrator. And so like each path changes the way like the power dynamic is and like who these characters are and what abilities they have. And they are different stories. They all start from the same point, but every ending is a different story, and it's so interesting.
You see, there's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
But like the thing, in this one, it's a game. In this one, he's not telling Stanley. Stanley's not in his mind. This one, it is a game. Like oh boy, ceiling light.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
What do we think? Third door. That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
It's like a 4 or 5. I'm thinking like a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Wow. Endings achieved, doors closed, awards won. Did you know that 20.3% of players skipped the intro sequence? Only the worst 3% of players chose the blue door? 98.9% of players are more attractive than Stanley. So also at this point, we could go through one of these doors, and I forget if it goes back to the normal path or it branches off again if you first fight and then go along with.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
No.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some play testing.
Oh no.
You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
I know what this
Perfect.
is.
Let me boot it up.
Hey, you remember the last one where he was talking about the different things Stanley imagined for himself?
Yeah.
He was referencing other
In this
actual
game, the baby crawls
paths
left
in the game.
towards
This is the one
danger.
with the baby
You
minigame.
click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice.
This is an art
But of
game.
course,
I've seen art
the
games that are
message of
exactly
the game
like this.
only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
This does literally go for 4 hours. Something happens if you push the button for 4 hours. Also, it's terrible. It's terrible to play. People have done this. There is something there. And that's the worst part. The dude made a game where you do this terrible thing, and then he's like, I'm making this thing that nobody will want to do. Somebody will do it, and he put something there for them. I think he yells at you more when that happens. I'm going to, no, I'm going to bring us down to a break here because we're now about 10 minutes out from the 5 o'clock, and I want time for Boom Blocks because Boom Blocks is awesome. So I'm going to fade down from this screen, and you can find out what happens with the baby on your own time. This game is fun. I would recommend this game. Not this baby game, but the... Alright, we're getting out of here before the baby drives me insane. I need to...
Wow,
Alright.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot to think about with that one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, we can talk about the nature of artwork and artists. Even though all you do is walk around. You barely ever have to press the buttons. Okay. We're going to go down to a break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with Boom Blocks, which is rad. See you then.